Thank you, David. It sounds like everyone's here. It is 9 o'clock, so welcome to the board meeting of the Structural Pest Control Board. This meeting is being held on June 28th, 2023, and the time is now 9 a.m. We will now establish a quorum. Sophia, can you do a roll call, please?
Yes. President Finley.
Here.
Vice President Anderson is absent. Board member Dr. Bindal. Actually, he just messaged that he's going to be 10 to 15 minutes late. Board member Paxson.
Here.
Board member Thrasher.
Here.
Board member Tingen.
Here.
We have 4 present. We have a quorum.
Okay, with a quorum established, we will now move on to our next agenda item. Agenda item 2 is Pledge of Allegiance. If you guys would join me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
Liberty and
Did I mess that up?
One nation under God with liberty and justice for all.
Indivisible.
Oh my goodness.
It's been a long time since elementary school.
Yes, thank you guys. I'm so sorry. I haven't messed that one up yet. Okay, agenda item 3, public comments that for items that are not on the agenda. I want to ask the public if they have any comments that are not on the agenda. So if we could open that up, please. Do we need to open that up, or is it already opened for anybody to chime in?
Yes, Tricia or David will open up for public comments for items not on the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Just give them one moment. They had to re-log in and get back into the proper place.
This is the moderator. Forgive me, I just joined the meeting. So are you ready for public comment? Is that what we're ready for?
Yes, public comment for items not on the agenda, item number 3.
Okay, you're welcome. Sorry about that. Hold on just a minute. And I see David has rejoined us.
Sorry about that. We are now accepting public comment. If you would like to make a comment, please tap that hand button at the bottom of your screen to raise your hand, or type the word comment into the Q&A box in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Dial-in users may need to dial *3 to raise their hand. Public comments will be given a 3-minute time limit with a 15-second warning. We're going to take just a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue?
Yes, please. Okay. Well, no public comments. Let's move on straight to the petition hearings. So agenda item number 4 is a modification termination of probation. The purpose of this hearing today is for the board to consider a petition for modification termination of probation from Demetrius Howard. I will now turn the meeting over to the administrative law judge to begin the hearing.
Thank you very much, Board President Finley. Can you all hear me well enough?
Yes.
Great. Thank you
Yes.
so much. And I see Ms. Lee is present here from the Attorney General's office, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning. And then Mr. Howard, you're present as well. Good morning,
Yes.
sir.
Yes,
Thank
good
you
morning.
so much. So I'm going to be calling the case in just a second, and I'll be giving you instructions as to how the hearing will proceed. Did you have any questions before we get started, Mr. Howard?
No.
All right, terrific. Thank you. So we are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California. We're reviewing 3 petitions this morning, and we'll take them in the order that they appear on the agenda. The first, as Board Member Finley announced, is a petition for modification or termination of probation filed by Demetrius D. Howard, spelled Demetrius D, and then Howard, Howard. Licenses are FR 55408 Branch 2 and RA 61276 Branch 3. And the OAH case number is 2023-050-879. My name is Wim van Rooyen. I am an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the State of California, and I've been assigned to preside over this matter today. Today's date is June 28th, 2023 at 9 a.m. It's approximately 9:07 a.m., and we are conducting this matter via WebEx video and teleconference and recording the matter through WebEx as well. Will let the record reflect that we have a quorum of board members present to conduct the hearing. May I please have the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Stephanie Lee, Deputy Attorney General, appearing on behalf of our office pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Ms. Lee. And then for the petitioner, I know we were informally introduced, but if you could please state your full name for the record.
Demetrius D. Howard.
All right. Good morning, sir. Thank you again for being here. In terms of how the hearing will proceed today, first, the Deputy Attorney General will introduce your petition packet and provide me with an orientation and the board members with an orientation to this matter, the procedural history, etc. After that, the petitioner, you will have the right to make a presentation under oath to explain why you believe your petition should be granted. You also have the right to call any other witnesses to testify, and then yourself and any such witnesses would be subject to questioning by both the board members and the Deputy Attorney General. Again, although I'm conducting the hearing and making evidentiary determinations, I will not be the one deciding your case. It will be the board members who will decide the case. So it's very important that you answer their questions and address any of their concerns. The board is particularly concerned with the rehabilitation that you may have engaged in. I'll just remind you that the board has had the benefit of reading your petition package, so it's not necessary to repeat everything that's in there, but you can certainly highlight or emphasize any portions you deem appropriate. And then after the hearing, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate. You won't be receiving an oral decision today, but you'll receive a written decision in the mail at some point in the future. Any questions about any of that, Mr. Howard?
No.
All right, thank you so much. Then I will turn it over to you, Ms. Lee, to introduce the petition packet and provide an orientation to the case. And you can do that in whichever order you like and is most comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will begin with the procedural history summary, and then we will ask the court to move and admit Exhibit 1. Your Honor, so the matter before this court is a petition for reduction of probation of Mr. Howard's licenses with the board. On or about July 12, 2018, his field representative license 55408 was issued. on or about July 13th, 2018, his applicator's license 61276 was also issued. These licenses, the field representative's license is in branch 2 and the applicator's license is in branch 3. These licenses were placed after a statement of issues. Upon issuance of the licenses, they were placed on 8 years of probation. The basis for the statement of issues, the reason why they were placed on probation, was because Mr. Howard had sustained a number of convictions over the years, starting from 1986 through the 90s. He had a total of 5 drug-related convictions. And then finally, his most recent conviction was from September of 2010. It was a federal drug case. It led to Mr. Howard being incarcerated for 56 months in federal prison. And then he was placed on supervised release thereafter. There is no cost recovery relating to this case because this was stemmed from a statement of issues. And covered everything. At the time, he was placed on 10 years of supervised release. At the time of his statement of issues hearing, he had completed about 2 of those years of supervised release. And so he had about 8 years left. And that completes our summary, Your Honor, of the procedural history.
Thank you very much. And you can proceed to introduce the petition packet.
Thank you. So, Your Honor, at this time, we would ask to mark and have received as Exhibit 1. It consists of the jurisdictional documents, which includes the board's letter confirming today's hearing date, the petitioner's confirmation. It includes the petition and related documents, including the board's letter to the petitioner, the guidelines for petitions for reduction that was sent to the petitioner, the petitioner's actual petition for modification/termination of probation. There's also rehabilitation evidence submitted by the petitioner with his petition. Those include a criminal court order granting early termination of supervised release. It includes the application that he submitted to the federal judge to have that supervised release early terminated. And that application includes an explanation of his circumstances at the time of the early termination. It includes his college education transcripts, certificates of completed trainings and courses that he took while in federal prison. It includes his UNICOR, UNICOR employment records and certificates of completed trainings and awards, again, that he achieved in federal prison. It includes certificates of completed rehabilitative counseling, anger management, stress management, drug abuse treatment that he received while in prison. And it also includes a number of support letters from members of his community. Exhibit 1 also includes the original decision and order from the statement of issues case in this case, case number 2018-30. It includes the statement of issues itself so the court can review in more detail the nature of the convictions that led to this decision. It includes the board's probation records, so a letter from his, I believe his current employer. It includes a sample quarterly probationary inspection report that was completed. And then finally, it includes his certified license history for the 2 aforementioned licenses.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lee. Mr. Howard, I'm assuming, well, I shouldn't assume, but do you have any objection to admitting Exhibit 1 into evidence?
No.
Thank you so much. Exhibit 1 is admitted. I still have to ask, but usually these are your documents you submitted, and the AG is putting it together and submitting it for you, but no objection heard. Exhibit 1 is admitted. Thank you very much. Anything else from you, Ms. Lee?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much. Then at this time, Mr. Howard, this is now is your opportunity to present your case. You may testify on your own behalf. Like I said earlier on, I'll just remind you again that the board has had the benefit of reading your petition package. So you don't need to repeat everything, but certainly you can highlight things as you would like. First thing I'm going to ask you, would you like to testify, sir?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to swear you in. If you can raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly state, under penalty of perjury, that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Because you don't have an attorney to ask you questions today, I'm going to just let you speak freely in a conversational format, highlight anything you'd like in support of your petition that you want the board to consider. Once you're done, Ms. Lee may have some questions for you, and then the board members may have some questions for you. And then at the end, I'll ask you if there's anything else you'd like to add that you might have forgotten the first time, because people are sometimes nervous when they testify. So I'll give you another opportunity at the end. So relax as much as possible, and you have the floor, sir. Thank you.
So I just want to say that in 2016, I sent in for a license for the Structural Pest Control Board and was denied. I could have given up, but I continue to fight for a career opportunity in pest control. And in 2018, I went before a judge. At that time, I was granted a probationary license. I truly believe that at that time, the judge, determined the length of my probation due to the fact that I had 8 years left on my supervised release from the federal crime. February of 2022, I petitioned to the courts for early termination of supervised release. At that time, the judge granted that. I feel like over the period of time being on probation for the Structural Pest Control Board, I followed all the rules and regulations of the conditions of my probation. And I think that, my past is behind me. And the federal judge decided that my past was behind me when she determined that, in the interest of justice, that I no longer needed supervision. So what I've done is I petitioned to the Structural Pest Control Board the same thing. I have established and followed all the rules and regulations of the Structural Pest Control Board, and I believe that the judge, determined the term of 8 years because of my supervised release. And now that I'm no longer on supervised release, I just asked the Structural Pest Control Board to terminate my supervised release on my license. I've done a lot of things, to show that my past life is behind me. They're in the package, and I just want an opportunity to move forward with my life and continue my career in pest control.
Thank you very much, Mr. Howard. Ms. Lee, I'm going to turn to you first. Any questions for the petitioner? And you are muted. There we go. You're unmuted.
Mr. Honor, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Howard. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mr. Howard, do you have any children?
Yes, I have a son, 28.
Do you provide any financial support for your child?
Yes, all the time. I'm always there for him.
And are you currently, are you married?
No, I'm not married.
Your current employment you listed on your petition as Pest Tech, P-E-S-T-C.
Yes.
Is that still your current employer?
Yes.
And how did you come to work for Pest Tech?
I shortly after being released, I went to a job fair at the Salvation Army looking for employment, and I talked to some representatives from Pest Tech. 2 days later, I came in for an interview and was hired and as a technician. And I worked under the Pest Tech logo. Currently now, after 7 years, I'm a service supervisor. And I'm actually over one of the biggest medical centers in the Bay Area, which is UCSF. I oversee that whole complex and facility.
And your employer is aware of all the events that led up to your probationary license?
Yes.
And if your licenses were to be terminated from probation, do you have any anticipated plans? Are you planning to do anything different?
At this time, I just continue to grow, in the industry. It's changing all the time. So there's still some things that I want to learn, maybe possibly, a different branch, more knowledge in the pest control industry.
And do you have, besides what's already been covered in the procedural history, do you have any recent criminal convictions or arrests?
No.
Are there any current criminal charges pending against you in this state or in any other jurisdiction?
No.
One of the things you included in your petition was a court order. So February 9th, 2022. So February of 2022 was when your supervised release was terminated. Is that right?
Yes.
And that was terminated after a federal judge reviewed essentially the same application packet that you submitted to the board today. Is that right?
Yes.
And the supervised release that you had been placed on, that was supposed to be for a period of 10 years. Does that
Yes.
Sorry, we can't overlap on our question and answer. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And then your supervised release began around roughly October of 2016?
Yes.
So by the time that your supervised release was terminated, about how many years had you completed?
6 years.
And during that time, did you have any violations from supervised release?
No.
And your current time that you've been on board probation, how many years has that been?
5 years.
And no violations with the board, is that right?
No.
One of the things that you mentioned in your petition was that you took vocational training classes in prison. Is that where you first began to learn about pest management?
No.
When did you first begin, or when and where did you first learn about the pest management?
When I joined the Pest Tech team.
I see. And it also mentioned in your petition that you also run a brokerage account. Does that
Yes.
sound right? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your answer.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that business?
Well, it's not a business. It's just that I manage my own brokerage account, which is part of my financial stability.
And then can you tell us one of the activities that you mentioned that you do with your community is something called Black Activation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So block activation is a safe passage for children that go to and from school in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco. So I work with the Salvation Army and other organizations and the San Francisco PD, to provide that safe access for kids to travel to and from school in the neighborhood.
Do you do any mentoring of children or students?
No, not at this time.
Is there anything else that you want to highlight in terms of your community work that you may have written about in your petition?
No.
Your Honor, I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lee. All right, I'm going to turn to the board members now to see if they have questions. So I'm going to start with President Finley. Do you have any questions for the petitioner?
Yes, I do. I want to congratulate you, Demetrius, on the path that you've been taking for the last 13 years, it sounds like. So congratulations on that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
What changed? What was the final change? I mean, from 1986 to roughly 2010, just kind of caught up in that. And did you have a life change, circumstance? Did you move?
Yes, I resided in San Bernardino, California, in one of the, roughest environments that you can possibly be. I decided that I wanted to take an opportunity to change my environment and see if there was a difference. So I moved here to San Francisco with a little bit of nothing, and I've made something of myself, and I'm proud of that.
Awesome. So you're not wrapped up in a whole different set of sphere of influence and everything now.
Yeah, I mean, 56 years old. I don't really have much opportunity to look back. It's moving forward from this point. My son, I have a granddaughter since I've been out, and so they have been the highlight of my life. Because when my son was born, I left because I'd done some things, made some decisions, some bad decisions. And so now, I continue to, be there for him and continue to be there for my granddaughter.
Amazing. Thank you. And then I know Stephanie had asked, but what, as far as getting off probation, is that going to lead to what's that mean to you, getting off probation?
So being on probation, like I said, it just represents, the past, like, hey, just, a part of me that doesn't feel, free as I want to be. I had stipulations and I had to answer to supervised release, which is fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. But, looking back on why I was on probation is the thing for me. And, finally, I was in communication with the judge on a yearly basis based on my conditions of probation. And, I think that she decided that, everything that I was doing and everything that I had accomplished was enough for her to trust me and release me from probation. And I just feel like this, for the same reasons, I asked the Structural Pest Control Board to, give me that opportunity to move forward in the industry and terminate my probation.
Okay, I really like that. Just get rid of the past is the past kind of
Yes.
where you're at right now. So nothing different with your role in the pest control industry based off of getting off probation. Like you're trying to take this other position and you can't until you get rid of the probation. Like your role doesn't change at Pest Tech.
It's not, our role doesn't change as Pest Tech, but maybe one day soon I may want to open up my own opportunity. I mean, I can't predict the future, but right now, Pest Tech is the place and the opportunity for me to grow.
Okay, awesome. And then last question, I think you already addressed it and Stephanie asked, but since 2010, there has been no violations of any sort, no run-ins with arrests or anything?
No contact with law enforcement other than providing a safe passage for the children in the Tenderloin district.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Demetrius. I'm proud of you, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no further questions.
Thank you, President Finley. I just want to make sure we don't have Dr. Bindal here, I think, because I had people listed and I don't want to skip anyone, but my understanding is not at this time, at least. Okay, so next up then is Mr. Paxson. Do you have any questions for the petitioner?
No, Mr. Howard, I just want to congratulate you on turning your life around also, and I don't have any questions for you at this point.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Paxson. And then Mr. Tengen, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I'd like to congratulate you on your path, and thank you for your community service. It's to be of service. It's priceless. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, and then Ms. Thrasher, do you have any questions?
Good morning, Demetrius. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but congratulations. I hope you can't hear that too much.
You can never hear too much.
That's great. I think that's wonderful. So you say you're involved in your adult son's life and your granddaughter. Do they live reasonably local to you?
They live in San Bernardino, California. My son just graduated with his master's in education, and my granddaughter just turned 7 yesterday.
But do you travel back and forth? How is it that you're involved in their lives? Aren't you up in the Bay Area?
Yes, but I travel frequently down to San Bernardino to visit.
Okay. All right. Well, good job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me make sure. Did any other board member have a question in the interim? Doesn't seem like it. I don't see any hands up or anything like that. Ms. Lee, are you good on any questions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Howard, was there anything else you'd like to add before you conclude your testimony?
I do have somebody that want to speak on my behalf.
Okay, no problem at all. Yes, but you are done with your testimony. There's nothing you wanted to add. Okay, perfect. Then who is your witness that you'd like to call?
His name is Louise. He's the president of Pest.
Perfect. Okay, so is he with you there?
Yes.
All right, so why don't you have him move into your into the camera there so that I can so we can see him.
I think he's logged in.
Oh, is he?
Oh, he's here right now. He's gonna move in right now.
Okay, perfect.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. This is Judge Van Rooyen. I just want, before you get started, could you please state your full name and for the record, please?
Yes, Luis Agurto.
And can you spell that for us, please?
Luisagurto.
Thank you so much, Mr. Agurto. I'm going to have you raise your right hand before you testify, and then I'll swear you in, okay? Do you solemnly state, under penalty of perjury, that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much, sir. You can put your hand down. And so Mr. Howard has called you as a witness, essentially a character witness, and you're also his employer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So I'm going to let you take the floor and just tell us whatever you think would be helpful in terms of considering his petition today to be released from probation early, any personal knowledge you have. Once you're done, Ms. Lee, the Deputy Attorney General, may have some questions for you, and the board members may have some questions for you. Okay?
Very well.
So with that said, you can start. Thank you, Mr. Agurto.
Thank you. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit of what I know with Demetrius. It's been a great pleasure to bring him into my life. We have been working closely together, serving municipalities, public housing, and as he said, the University of California, San Francisco, which is a research and educational facilities. Demetrius has really been an inspiration, I think, and a role model for our workforce here in San Francisco. He has a tremendous work ethic. He is really, trusted and appreciated by his clients, which is so important for me because they are the lifeblood of our business. I've learned so much from Demetrius, really, in terms of his dedication to customer service. He mentioned to me when he first started that growing up, he had never experienced personally customer service, never had the opportunity of treated as a customer with respect, by service providers. And that's why he took it so, earnestly that what he was doing in the world, serving people with respect and kindness and compassion, especially in public housing, where people are many times underserved, it was something, really important and validating to his life. So that's been a model for me and something I've really carried with me in our mission to cultivate better urban ecology. I believe that Demetrius, in the future will be able to be a role model for his family and for his community back in Southern California. I know that he has some aspirations to go into business on his own. And I think that when he does do that, he'll have my full support and that he'll be very successful in it. So my family and we believe that the power of this industry, the power of small business to really raise up families and raise up communities with ownership in what they do. So he has my full support. And as a Christian, I really believe in redemption. And so I think that he has redeemed himself, and please, look into your hearts to afford him the opportunity to move forward in life and in his success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just one quick clarification. What is your position at Pest Tech? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that the first time, just for the record.
Yeah, I'm the CEO of Pest Tech.
CEO. Thank you so much, sir. All right, I'm going to turn you over to Ms. Lee, see if she has any questions. Ms. Lee, do you have any questions for Mr. Aguerto?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Mr. Aguerto, can you hear me?
Yes.
How long has Pest Tech been in business?
Since 1985.
And is this a family-run business? Do you have other family members operating the business?
Virtually everyone. So yes, my father started the company. He's the chairman of our board of directors. My mom continues to work with the company. She's the CFO. My wife is our COO. My brother is the president of the company. He works in a different branch. And my little sister works with us, and so does her husband. So, and I have employees whose family also work in the business. So my right hand, Mikhail, her mother works with us, and we're going to be onboarding very soon the spouse of one of our employees as well. So it is very much a family-run enterprise.
Okay, great. And my last question is, what made you take that first chance on Mr. Howard and hire him before you were fully aware of his capabilities and his character?
We really try to take people at their face value as they represent themselves when we interview them. We do give people the opportunity to demonstrate their capabilities in the field. We call it, on the job interview. So we have them, work with us, and then we are very careful in monitoring how they behave and what their performance is. So, part of that is, a love for people and really wanting to give people a fair chance. Part of that is a need that we have, a challenge of attracting good people to this industry and to work in pest control. So, he was really seemed a very honest person, seemed someone that we could connect with, and was worthy of taking that chance.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. All right, let me see if the board members have any questions, starting with President Finley. Any questions for the witness?
No questions. Just wanted to say thank you for being in our industry. Thank you for your family being in our industry. Sounds like you guys are running a good show over there, and thank you for taking the chance with Demetrius. It sounds like you guys struck gold over there. So congrats. Thank you very much so.
Thank you, President Finley. And Dr. Bindal, I noticed that you've joined us. Welcome. Thank you very much. I don't, since you haven't been present for the entire testimony, I'm going to skip over you because you won't be deliberating on this particular petition. So I didn't want you to think I'm not acknowledging you, but I think it makes sense since you haven't heard all the evidence on this one. So then next we have Mr. Paxson. Do you have any questions?
No, nothing further from me.
Thank you. Mr. Tingang, any questions?
No comments.
All right. And Ms. Thrasher, any questions?
I just want to throw in that Luis and I have worked together in the past, and he runs a quality operation and is well respected in the industry. So that speaks loudly of what he is saying and supporting of Demetrius. So that's my comment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Thrasher. Any additional comment you'd like to make, Mr. Aguardo? And you don't have to. I just want to give you a final opportunity before I let you step down from the witness stand.
No, yeah, just I think just from the sound of the tenor of everything, you all sound very. I'm very proud to be part of this industry and to work with you all. And thank you, Janet, so much. Good to see you.
All right. Thank you so much. Mr. Howard, any other additional witnesses that you wish to call? You don't have to have any more. I'm just double checking to make sure there's no one we left out.
No.
All right. And no additional documentary evidence or anything to present, correct?
No.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate your time and being here today. That then concludes the petition hearing in this matter. The record is closed. The case is submitted for decision, and we are off the record in this particular matter. President Finley, I'll turn it over to you. I'm ready to proceed to our next petition if that's what you want, although I think we may have to promote the next members. So, but I leave it to you.
I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity. I appreciate all the good comments, and I'm hopeful.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, President Finley, I turn it over to you. I don't know what you want to do in terms of breaks or anything like that. I leave it entirely up to you. I'm ready to proceed to the next one whenever you are.
Yeah, thank you. I think we move on to agenda item 5 with the next petitioner, if everyone's okay with that. And then maybe we can take a break right after that, depending on how long that goes. So do we have Shizou? I'm probably going to mess up the name. Do we have them on the line?
This is the moderator. We have promoted Shizou Hong. We could do a mic check, please.
So I can log out, right?
Yes, you may.
Oh yes, Mr. Howard, you're welcome to stay. It's a public meeting, but if you don't, you're welcome to leave. We're done with your
okay. I got to get back to work.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah, moderator, can we make sure Shizou Hong is here?
This is the moderator. Mr. Hong, we see you have unmuted. Say something for us, please. All right, hold on just a moment. I'm going to pull up an audio text slide. All right, I've got a slide up. Hopefully that will help us solve any audio problems we may have. If not, we have another one available. A different suggestion. All right, I've changed the slides with a second suggestion as to how we may be able to fix the audio. All right, we're going to leave this slide up for just a moment longer.
This is Sabina. Perhaps board staff can try to contact him directly offline, see if there's other issues that they can address. And if you would rather move to the second petition or the third petition and come back, I'll leave that up to the board president.
Do we have Eduardo here?
Yes.
Eduardo is here.
Yeah, if his mic is working and we can start with the third hearing. You can skip over agenda item 5 and go to 6. We can do that while the board works with Shizou on getting them familiar with the online.
Perfect. We're going to have staff give him a call in the meantime and make sure he's all set up properly.
All right, this is the moderator.
Okay, moderate.
I have changed.
Go ahead, moderator.
I have changed petitioners. Eduardo, can we do a mic check, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome. I hear you loud and clear.
Thank you.
And no video, Eduardo? Just, are you on the phone? Oh, there you are. Okay, we see you now. So let's move to agenda item number 6. It's a petition for reinstatement. The purpose of this hearing today is for the board to consider a petition for reinstatement from Eduardo Santillan. I will now turn the meeting over to the administrative law judge to begin the hearing.
Thank you very much, President Finley. I just want to make sure, how do I pronounce your last name, Mr. Santillan? I just want to make sure. Santillan? Okay, thank you very much. And you can hear me clearly, correct?
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you, sir. And I've still got Ms. Lee here who represents the Deputy Attorney General, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Santillan, I will be, once we go formally on the record, I'll be giving you instructions for how the hearing will proceed. Do you have any questions up front that I can address before we get started?
No.
All right, thank you so much. Then we'll get started. All right, we are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California. We're taking a look at our next petition on the agenda. We're actually skipping over the second one to work through technical issues. So we are now going to hear the petition for reinstatement by Eduardo Santillan. That's spelled Eduardo and Santillan, Santillan. This is OPR license 10743 in branch 1, and the OAH case number is 2023-051-040. My name is Wim van Rooyen. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the State of California, and I've been assigned to preside over this matter. Today is June 28th, 2023. And it's approximately 9:48 a.m. We are conducting this matter via WebEx video and teleconference, and we are recording this matter via WebEx as well. I will state for the record that we have a quorum of board members present as reflected in the roll call. And in fact, we've had one additional board member join us since the last call, which was Dr. Bindal. So I do find there's a quorum of the board present. May I please take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. Kathleen Lee, Deputy Attorney General, on behalf of the Attorney General's Office, appearing pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
Thank you. Good morning to you, Ms. Lee. And then for the petitioner, I know we were introduced off the record, but if you could just state your full name for the record now, sir. Thank you.
Eduardo Santillan.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Santillan. Thank you so much for being here. In terms of how the hearing will proceed today, first, the Deputy Attorney General will introduce your petition packet and provide us with an orientation of your case, basically the procedural history of your case. And then after that, you will have the right to make a presentation under oath to explain why you believe your petition should be granted. You may also call other witnesses to testify, and then you and any such witnesses would be subject to questioning by both the Deputy Attorney General and the board members. although I am the judge presiding over the case and making rulings about the evidence, I am not actually the person who will be deciding your case today. The board members will be deciding it. So it's very important that you answer their questions and address any of their concerns, okay? And the board is particularly concerned with the rehabilitation you may have engaged in. I just want to remind you that the board has had the benefit of reading your petition package. So you do not need to repeat anything that's included in that package, but you can certainly highlight or emphasize any particular portions you think would be appropriate. After the hearing, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate. So you won't be receiving a decision today, but you will be receiving a written decision in the mail at some point in the future. All right, do you have any questions about any of that?
No.
Thank you, sir. All right, so now I will turn it over to you, Ms. Lee, to introduce us to the procedural history of the case and to enter the petition packet into evidence, whichever order you prefer. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll begin with the procedural history. The matter before this court, again, is a petition for reinstatement of the operator's license OPR 10743 in branch 1. Mr. Santillan has been in this industry in a field representative capacity since 1988, and that's reflected in the certified license histories that will be submitted with this Exhibit 1. Mr. Santillan had a board case, accusation number 2012-7, filed in April of 2013. At the time of this accusation and the violations in the accusation, he was the qualifying manager and president of a company called Master Fume Incorporated. The basis of that accusation stemmed from an incident in 2010 when the board learned that Master Fume had aided and abetted another company called Bug Stop in performing unlicensed pest control services. More specifically, Bug Stop had contracted to do a termite fumigation. Termite work generally falls under branch 3 of this board's licensure. Fumigations fall under branch 1 of this board's licensure. Bug Stop was not a branch 3 or a branch 1 registered company, so it was not allowed to do any part of this work. And yet it colluded with Master Fume, a branch 1 registered company, who performed the fumigation anyway. The accusation also alleged, relating to this fumigation incident, other violations against the petitioner and Master Fume. Specifically, the petitioner and his company had failed to compile a proper fumigation log. It also performed that fumigation without first having an inspection by a branch 3 registered operator or field representative as required by law. The disposition of that accusation case led to Mr. Santillan and his license being placed on 3 years probation effective May of 2014 after a hearing on the accusation. The cost recovery for that case, accusation case, was $4,012.86. Subsequently, so after he was placed on probation in May of 2014, Mr. Santillan had a revocation case filed against his license in 2017. The basis for that probation violation, the revocation case, was a number of violations. Specifically, on probation, he was required to obey all laws. However, the board learned that between 2014 and 2017, he had at least 7 violations totaling $3,600 in fines from the Los Angeles County Agricultural Commissioner. He failed to file approximately 314 fumigation reports with that agency, He had failures to submit notices of intent, failures to satisfy the California Aeration Plan requirements, the CAP requirements, failure to ensure a medical evaluation was performed prior to the use of a respirator, and failure to submit fees for structural fumigations performed that they had performed in Los Angeles County. In 2015, part of the violations also included a 2015 board citation in the amount of $1,300 for failure to submit proof of completion of continuing education credits, which was required for his OPR license renewal. In addition, Mr. Santillan had been found to have violated the term of probation requiring him to timely submit quarterly reports. He failed to timely submit quarterly reports in 11 separate reporting periods. He also failed to comply with the payment schedule for the accusation cost recovery. So the $4,012.86 was required to be paid in essentially 12 equal payments, and the zero balance was due by May 8th, 2015, while on probation. However, in reality, Mr. Santillan made random payments that were not according to schedule and had failed to pay in full by that due date. The disposition of this revocation case was that Mr. Santillan's license was revoked after stipulated settlement, and this became effective April 20th, 2018. There was cost recovery attached to this revocation case in the amount of $7,965. Moving forward, Mr. Santillan in 2021 had a petition for reinstatement, his first petition, denied after hearing. Your Honor, we would submit on that procedural history, and we can also move on to the exhibit. Maybe we move on to the exhibit.
You may, Ms. Lee. Sorry, I assumed you just would, but yes, you're free to move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, we would ask to have marked and received into evidence as Exhibit 1. This is a combination of jurisdictional documents, which includes the board's letter confirming today's hearing date, the petitioner's confirmation of his appearance, Mr. Santillan's petition and related documents, which includes the board's letter to the petitioner regarding the guidelines for petitions, the guidelines for petitions themselves, his petition for reinstatement, rehabilitation evidence that he submitted, specifically ACE professional certificates of course completion, his branch 1 operator exam pass result that he had obtained in 2020, multiple branch 1 pre-operator certificates of course completion, and then there's a Torrance Police Department report that Mr. Santillan had filed against an employee of his business, Master Fume, regarding embezzlement accusations. It also includes the decisions and orders from all these prior cases that I've mentioned, case number 2012-7. It includes the decision and order from 2014 that placed his license on probation, the accusation. It includes the revocation decision and order, as well as that pleading. It also includes a memorandum from the board indicating that cost recovery for the revocation case was paid in full. It includes Mr. Santillan's prior petition for reinstatement, the first petition in 2021, and then that decision and order. It also includes a number of probation records during the time that he was on probation. It includes the several notices from the board regarding his probation violations, which we've gone over in the procedural history. It includes a final demand letter from the board regarding the cost recovery balance that was owed on the accusation case, and then a record of cost recovery that was paid in full, albeit late, in the accusation case. It also includes number of board quarterly probation inspection reports pertaining to Mr. Santillan's probation progress. And finally includes a number of certified license histories for the aforementioned license, also his previous and old licenses as a field representative, and also the company registration certificate history for his former company, Master Fume. It also includes the license histories for Cali Fume, C-A-L-I, which is the company that he is listed as his current employer. So those are at the very end of this Exhibit 1. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lee. So any objection to admitting Exhibit 1, the entire petition packet as Ms. Lee just recited? Mr. Santillan, that question is for you.
No.
No objection, is that correct?
Yes. I understand I have made mistakes.
Sir, wait 1 second. I'm going to give you an opportunity to testify. I just want my question answered on this one. Do you have any objection to admitting Exhibit 1, the petition packet?
No.
Thank you. Exhibit 1 is admitted. So now I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Santillan, and it's your opportunity to testify. Would you like to do so?
Can I put my daughter? She can speak for me as a witness.
You can call her as a witness, but would you not like to testify yourself as well? I can have both of you testify.
Yes, please.
All right. So
yes, she's gonna testify.
So am I understanding correctly that you yourself do not want to testify to the board?
No.
All right. Ms. Lee, are you going to be calling Mr. Santillan as a witness? Because again, you have the right to do so even if he chooses not to testify.
Yes, Your Honor. I do plan to call him for, I guess, essentially cross-examination, should he not testify on his own behalf.
All right. Well, we can do it this way. Mr. Santillan, you can call your daughter to testify. Ms. Lee can cross-examine, board members can ask questions. And then I'll ask Ms. Lee if she wants to call you as a witness, because she does have the right to call you as a witness, even if you don't wish to testify. But let's take your daughter's testimony first. Then is you're calling her as a witness? Is that your desire?
Yes.
All right, ma'am. Is that you sitting next to your father there?
Yes.
All right, terrific. Can you please state and spell your full name for the record?
Mariela Gutierrez, M-A-R-I-E-L-A. My last name Gutierrez is G-U-T-I-E-R-R-E-Z.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gutierrez. I'm going to have you raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you so much. You can put your hand down. Mr. Santillan, did you have specific questions for your daughter, or you wish to have her just testify freely in support of your petition?
No, she's going to testify freely.
All right, perfect. Then with that said, Ms. Gutierrez, the same instructions I gave earlier on, you can assume that the board members are familiar with the petition packet, but if there's anything you want to highlight or emphasize, you can, or any other helpful information you can provide to the board in helping your father's petition, that would be great. So you have the floor. Please continue. Once you're done, the Deputy Attorney General may have questions for you and the board members may have questions for you, okay? You can start. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of my father. I feel like he's a little nervous, and because of the language barrier, I feel like he doesn't get the opportunity to really express what he really wants to say. So I have been with him since 2014 in the company. I listened to everything that was listed and read what's on the documents. And the reason why I even started working for my father is because I was the one that found out that his secretary at the time was stealing money from him. And as stated on the documentation, there's evidence of all that. And I also, when I started working for my father, cleaning out the office and getting everything in order, I also found a lot of mail hidden in between files, where we did see that there was letters coming in, as stated in the documentation, that my father wasn't responding to the violations and the documentations that were being required from the board. Also, the reason why he was not paying on time, the 12-month payment plan that he had signed to he agreed to. All these, a lot of the mail he was not receiving. Again, he understands that he wasn't on top of the commitment that he had made with the state board, being that he was, he's busy, he's working, he's out on the field, he has a lot of things going on. Again, that's not an excuse, but I understand how he fell behind and he wasn't on top of these things, and also trusting that the secretary was taking care of these issues and these matters, to facilitate the job. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, okay. We can hear you. Thank you.
It had kicked me out of the screen, sorry. Being that he was out working on the field, he has a lot of things going on. I can see how he fell behind and he wasn't paying attention to these things. And I also myself was a witness of things that I saw, that he was writing checks out to be making these payments, but instead of these checks being sent out, she was taking the money. Somehow, some way, she was writing these checks, because my dad, what he was doing was he was signing the checks and the amount, but it wasn't being written to specific locations where, like if it was supposed to be paying to the LA County, he wasn't writing that on the subject. And so she was writing these checks out to herself or people that she knew, which I thought that was kind of crazy that she was even writing it to herself, or putting in petty cash, taking this money out. This is how she was able to steal so much money from my father. Again, something else he wasn't paying attention to, which was like bank statements, where he could have seen that this was going on, but because he was so busy with work, he wasn't able to see this. Even when I found out that she was stealing from him, I asked him to give me the password and the username and the password to be able to log into the bank statements, because we would sit at dinner and my dad was always complaining about not having enough money. And I got to the point, I'm 22 at this time, working at Subway, and I just got tired of hearing my dad. He's always at work. He's rarely home. When we do see him, it's at dinner time, and he's complaining that he doesn't have money to pay bills and to do this and to do that. Most of the money is going to be bills. So I'm saying money as in like he doesn't have leftover money. He doesn't understand how he has so much work and it's only getting him by, and he's able to pay the stuff that he needs to pay for, but he doesn't have a lot of leftovers. That's what I mean when I keep hearing him say about money issues. So I asked him, I was like, okay, Dad, let me look through your bank statements. That was something that that came to my mind at that moment. And when he told me he didn't know how to log into the bank online, that was a red flag. I'm like, what do you mean? And anyways, long story short, I called his secretary and she was nervous. She kept telling me that the password. I was like, okay, can I have the password so I can log in? And she just kept repeating things. And anyways, I log in, and that's how I found that this woman was writing checks out to different people, petty cash. And this is how she was successfully taking money that he wasn't aware of. And so when I showed him, he said, I'm like, wow, Dad, your secretary gets a lot of money. Like, can I work for you? I think I'm going to leave Subway. And that's when I thought my dad was going to have a heart attack. Anyways, point is, there was a lot of things she was hiding from him. Doesn't make an excuse to why he wasn't keeping up with these documentations, the notice of intent. She wasn't doing it. She wasn't paying the monthly fees. A lot of the money that was supposed to be going to these violations, the reason why these payments were being sent in late was because she was taking the money. She was not distributing it accordingly to how he thought it was being distributed to. And he did make everything, all the payments, like it was stated on the documents. It was late, but it was because a lot of the things they were not being taken care of on time, mainly because she wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing. And that is all I have for you. And I hope that it made sense. If you have any questions, like if you want me to ask him any questions or anything, just let me know.
Thank you very much. Let me first see if the Deputy Attorney General has any questions for you, and then we'll turn to the board members. Ms. Lee, do you have questions for the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Gutierrez.
Good morning.
What is your current employment?
I work for my dad, and I also go to school.
In what capacity do you work for your dad?
I'm part-time right now. I do the administrative work.
For what business?
For Cali Fuming. Well, not for him, but the company. My brother.
Got it. Does your brother own Cali Fuming?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have like a title or official position within Cali Fuming?
I believe I'm under secretary.
Do you do secretary work?
Yes.
Okay. Are you also like the corporate officer secretary for the company?
Yes.
And how long have you worked with Cali Fume?
Since 2000 and was it 18?
18.
Yeah. Since we changed it. Yeah, 2018. So 5 years.
And then before that, you began working for your father's old company, Master Fume. Is that right?
Yes.
Got it. And I think you actually testified in the first petition hearing a couple of years ago, right?
Yes.
At the time, do you remember telling the judge in that first hearing that you started around August of 2014 working for your father in Master Fume?
Yes.
And is that still correct? That date is accurate?
Yes.
And what kind of work did you do for your father starting around August of 2014 for Master Fume?
I was doing the administrative secretary work.
Did that include any paperwork that he had to fill out for his probation, his board probation?
Yes.
And then any payments that he had to make for the costs for his board cases?
Yes.
And then what about any paper requirements and fee requirements for the county agricultural commissioner?
Yes. I actually found I didn't because okay, can I just say that yes.
Yeah, but maybe you can answer the question first, and then if you have an explanation, you can give us the explanation. So you were responsible for filling out like the county agricultural commissioner paperwork and paying those fees?
Yes.
And did during your time at Master Fume, were you primarily responsible for all of that paperwork and fee payment?
Yes.
And then what about your work now? You said you work part-time at Cali Fume. Is there somebody else who also shares the administrative work at Cali Fume?
Yes, my sister.
What is your sister's name?
Adriana Santillan.
And Ms. Gutierrez, I think you mentioned that you had a chance to look over all the documents from today. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you get a chance to look at the first petition hearing, the decision from that hearing?
The one where he got denied?
Yes, where he got denied.
Yes.
Maybe I can refresh your memory. One of the things that the judge was concerned about was they noted that you started working for Master Fume August of 2014. You got rid of the BAT secretary. You took over the secretary work. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. And then one of the judge's concerns at the time was that there were still some of the late quarterly probation reports and some of the late cost recovery payments had occurred even after the BAD secretary was replaced by you. And so I wanted to ask you if you had any response to that or any feelings or thoughts about that opinion.
Yes. So at the time when I did start working for my dad in 2014, I'm only 23 years old. I've never worked in an office. I've been working for Subway since I was like 16. So I've only done that job. So everything was new to me. There was a lot of mess. I literally came in to clean up. I was cleaning up. There was not sufficient funds to be. I was trying to be as distributing the money was like kind of like I had to decide what needed to be paid first before other things. Like I was trying to figure out a way to make these payments with not a lot of funds. So some of the stuff was being paid late. And when it came to the notice of intent, I didn't even know that that was something we had to do. And so I had to learn. And the way I did was I started calling LA County and asking like, hey, I see that we're supposed to be, because the letters would come in that we're not turning in these notice of intents and we're not making payments. And I was confused on what that would even meant. So I started calling, asking questions, and that's how I learned that we needed to turn those documentations in and the payments. And that's how I started doing it. But some of the times it was late because I had to pay, rent, payroll, the payroll takes up a lot of the money. So it was just a lot of that. And the reason why some of these things were late after I came in and took over. So yes.
Did you have to make those financial decisions yourself?
I mean, I was communicating with him, but but most of the time I'm in the office. So this is, but yeah, I was communicating it with him.
Okay.
Yes.
And then since then, so now you've had some time working in this industry. Can you tell us anything about what you personally done to make improvements, to not make errors, to pay things on time, fines and fees, and submitting paperwork on time? Have you taken any courses or attended any seminars? Have you done anything yourself?
I went to school for a little bit for business. I didn't continue in that path, I believe I just learned by, again, like I stated earlier, calling, asking questions. Sometimes when I have any questions, I just felt like I speak to Melissa sometimes. Anyone that can help me, I just ask. And that's how I've learned a lot of this industry, to be honest. Not like I didn't go to school. I have not been to any seminars. No, it's just me calling, asking questions.
Okay. My last question, thank you. My last question is the admin work that you're splitting now currently between you and your sister, Adriana, at Cali Fume. Can you give us sort of like a split of how much, like 40, 60, 50, 50, how much of the admin work you're doing at the company versus Adriana?
Well, right now it's more 50-50. She's doing more of the simple work, like the notice of intent. So I'm still kind of training her. I'm still kind of, so maybe I'm not going to say 50-50. I'm going to say 70-30. I'm still behind her. I'm still kind of like making sure she's doing everything she needs to do. And hopefully, right now, I'm taking a little bit of time out of school to make sure that everything is being taken care of, because it's a lot of work. And I understand, she's 20, so it's a lot. And it reminds me of me when I first started. So I don't want to put all the responsibility on her yet, because it is a lot of work. So I'm still very involved, and I'm trying to just be on top of her.
All right, thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. All right, let me see if the board members have questions, starting with President Finley.
Thank you for testimony, and thank you for speaking on behalf of your father. So it sounds like there's been, and I don't want to say bad business practices over the years, but there's been some bad business practices over the years. So, I mean, what's really the difference now? What's changed? What's the last 3 to 5 years looked like as far as violations go? I kind of like, how has he been rehabilitated? Why trust now that things are different than it's proven over the last 10 years with the different violations, would be my question.
Well, when it came to this, where in 2010 with Bugstop, that the job was performed, from my understanding, that was actually a mistake on the fume log that obviously their license, they were not licensed and they were not aware of that. So we're making sure when we get, most of the companies that we work with, all of the companies we work with, we're familiar with. Any new companies that do want to work with us, we make sure that we're keeping, that we're checking the board and making sure that their licenses are in good standing. So that's, so that doesn't happen again with the whole that the companies are not licensed. When it comes to the inspections he's making, my brother, the people that we work with, we're making sure that they're following the regulations, the rules and regulations. We're not getting as much work on a daily basis, so that we make sure that we're not overloading the workers and that they are more careful and diligent with their work. And as far as violations, it's a little hard sometimes when it comes to the weather. The tarps rip, or we have like things like that. Sometimes it's hard not to have little things here and there where we do get violations. We have received violations, but I feel like we haven't had anything like major. We just try to be diligent as far as not getting overloaded with work or overloading the guys, and just staying on top of the administrative licenses and the notice of intent, just stay on top of that.
Who now is ultimately responsible, that would take the responsibility of, if there's a violation tomorrow, is it your brother? Is it your father? Is it you? Like, who is overseeing the operation and making sure that all the boxes are being checked and that there aren't going to be violations moving forward?
It's my brother.
And when did he come into the picture? Was that when Cal fumed in 2018?
Correct.
Okay. And what kind of violations have you had since 2018, since he started Cali Fume and he's taken over as, is he the operator, correct, right now?
Mm-hmm. From the top of my head, like I mentioned, it's like things like the tarp was ripped or the signs are not legible, that we need to like laminate them. It's mostly like the licensee that gets the violations, and then of course Cali Fume, because things like the signs or the tarp was ripped, it wasn't the tubes, just stuff like that can easily be fixed.
What's the size of Cali Fumes and what's the structure of it as far as how many employees and management, and what's that look like?
It's about 8 employees, including my brother. And what was your other question? I'm sorry.
Well, is that the 8 employees? Does that include you, your sister, your father, your brother, and 4 other employees?
Yeah, well, it's about mostly family, and it's like maybe 5 that are not family. So maybe like 8, 9. It varies depending on how much work we have.
And you have 2 fume trucks out there right now? How many trucks and how many fumes are you guys doing on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's 2. It's 2, and we do between 3 to 5 ups, and then downs is mostly we try to stay between up and down. We do like 8 to 9 jobs.
What do you mean between up and down?
Like if we put up 4 jobs, we only take like 4 to 5 down. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. And how involved is your brother, who is the operator?
He comes like once a week right now, because he does have another job. So he comes like once a week right now. So it's mostly I'm the one.
Okay. So as far as the overseeing the daily operations, is that more your father right now? Who's checking with the guys every day and seeing, yeah, those 4 jobs came down. Yes, we did that correctly. These 4 jobs went up. We did that correctly. Who's overseeing that?
It's Felix, one of the licensees. Like he's mostly on top of that stuff.
Okay. So he's the manager of the rest of the guys.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And what will change as far as your father wanting his license back? What's that mean? What will change?
Oh my goodness, a lot. My dad is the brain. He has the experience. He's been doing this for 40 years. So that would just make it a lot more easier for Felix, one, and for my brother. Like, he's the one that we call, like, if we have any questions, like, Dad, like, you know, like, this is going on. If I don't call the board, I call my dad. So he's a brain. Like, we need him.
So how will his role change, though? I mean, so you guys, sounds like you rely on him a lot for his knowledge right now, but so he has his license reinstated. What changes? I mean, you're still calling him like you are now, but is there something that's holding him back from a license, from starting something besides Cali Fume that you guys are looking to do? What's the actual license mean? Otherwise, I mean, it sounds like you're relying on him the same way you do now as you would if he got his license back. But what would be the difference if he got his license?
He will be more involved. He'll be able to legally be more involved with the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's what I was looking for. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. No further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Board President Finley. Next up, I have Dr. Bindal. Do you have any questions?
Hi, yeah, I do. So, first off, it was a very unfortunate event of embezzlement, back in those times. So I can understand the financial stressors you as a family would have encountered in the corporate structure. One question I have for you, Mariela, Ms. Gonzalez, is, the entire time I heard how the secretarial staff is responsible for all the mail, is responsible for opening the mail and addressing the correspondence, how the brother is involved in day-to-day operations. So there's a lot of disorganization, I feel, within the corporate. Even the board president mentioned the same thing. And how do you think that's going to change? I understand that Mr. Santillan would be involved in day-to-day operations after he reinstates his license, but it seems like the entire vibe, the entire background of what I'm hearing is how you have learned in this business, how your brother and family have been more involved in this business, but I did not hear anything about how Mr. Santillan has changed during this process and what all has happened in his behavioral patterns, organizational structure, that we can rely on that he would be more actively involved in the business than he's ever been in the past. Now, another component to that would be failure to respond to all the correspondence. Now, failure to respond to the board correspondence and other licensing boards is the responsibility of the license holder. So we have to make sure that Mr. Santillan is involved. It's not the secretary who's responsible for opening the mail and responding to it. It's the license holder who's responsible for it. So we need to make sure that he's checking his mails optimally and he's able to respond to the mail in a timely manner. I know there are cultural differences, there are language barriers, but those language barriers cannot cannot be the roadblock in this correspondence. So that's the second component I want to bring on the picture, on the table.
I agree. I believe that there's many opportunities out here for him to take courses, whether it's in Spanish, that can help him to be able to be more organized. As far as us as well, like my sister and I, we can take classes that will make it more to build the foundation that needs to be, the foundation that needs to, for the organization to take place in a manner where we just have to go to school. We have to educate ourselves in that sense. So I would say my sister and I would most definitely take classes. I can find classes for him as well. And there's so many opportunities out there. So I know that's not going to be an issue, a problem.
But so we're talking specifically about Mr. Santillan. So, so you're saying that he would be taking more courses to understand the process better. Okay. But has he done any of those courses in the past 3 to 5 years already, or this is like something which he's planning to do in the future?
2017.
Yeah, right here he wrote down that he has taken classes. What kind of classes?
7 classes in 1 year, 2017, March.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir, but you're not under oath right now. So the question can only be answered by the witness who is testifying. So I'm going to strike all of the statements Mr. Santillan just made. You can either answer you know that he's taken courses because you have personal knowledge of that, or you don't know. So if you could re-answer the board member's question with that in mind. Thank you.
Yes. So yes, he has been taking classes.
All right, no more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bindal. Next up, Mr. Paxson, do you have any questions for the witness?
Yeah, I have a couple. Good morning.
Good morning.
the evidence about the secretary's embezzlement and sounds like she just wasn't doing her job also. Has that been presented to the board before in any of the other earlier proceedings?
Yes.
Okay. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. At the time that it happened, are you aware of whether or not your dad reported it to the police?
Yes.
He did?
Yes.
And do you know what the outcome of that was?
She's supposed to be paying some kind of amount every month, which she's not really doing.
So it sounds like she was charged and convicted with something.
Did she?
If you again, if you don't know, we can ask your dad later when if we have a chance to ask. But if you're not aware, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But you believe she was ordered to pay some kind of restitution to your dad or to the company?
Yes.
Okay. Does your dad have any other licenses? He just had the operator license? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. My other questions were asked by others, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paxson. Let me see. Mr. Tengan, do you have any questions?
I do. You stated that your brother at Califume oversees operations currently, correct?
Yes.
And he shows once a week, right?
Yes.
And both your sisters, you and your sister, are involved in the business, but you're not licensees. Is that correct?
Correct. We're not.
Have you guys considered getting a license to understand the industry that you're in, the business that you're doing? Is there a reason why you haven't taken that step?
Maybe because I'm interested in other things. I haven't asked my sister. She just, kind of took over. The more knowledge, the better. So, I can consider that. My dad has mentioned it to me. I just honestly haven't done it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Tengan. And then Ms. Thrasher, do you have any questions?
I do. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for your information that you've provided thus far. I don't know if it's appropriate. Can I ask John a question about, aren't you a fumigator, John?
Yes, I am.
Am I allowed to ask him a question relative to licensing?
Well, he's not really testifying as a witness right now, Ms. Thrasher.
Right.
So I think just confine your questions to the witness. Thank you.
So you say you put up 4 and take down 4 every day. And I have the Structural Pest Control Board website open showing the employees that you have. It looks like you have 4 field reps. Do you have other workers that are involved in the fumigation process on a daily basis? Or are you telling me that those 4 people put up 4 and take down 4 every day?
I don't have knowledge on that.
You don't know if there's other employees besides the 4 that are listed?
The field reps? They're the field reps, right?
You have 4 field reps listed, correct?
Yeah.
Do you have other people working?
Yeah, the other people that don't have the license, yes.
And do you ever use day workers, or is everybody else in your company an employee of the company?
Sometimes we do have day workers, yes.
Okay.
Like I said, it depends on how much work we have, because not every day do we have 4 jobs that go down and 5 jobs. It all depends. What I was saying was that we try not to take too much work on a daily basis. So even if we do have companies wanting to give us work, we try to spread them out to where we don't have too much work in one day.
And have you ever considered hiring another person to work in the office that has experience? They don't necessarily have to be involved in the financial side of it, but they could be knowledgeable in filling out the ag reports and, doing all the things that a fumigator is required to do, rather than using the reason that you and your sister don't know that much, and that's why things aren't getting done right. There is a solution to run the office correctly and be able to do all the reporting and everything that's required. It sounds like you might consider that option.
Right. Before I actually have my sister come in, I was training someone else, the knowledge that I do have. And because of most of the issue is the financial aspect of it, that I wanted to get someone else. And if it's not one thing, it's another, as far as like paying the another employee, where we're trying to like not have so much coming out. But yes, I have considered it, and that's another thing that I've been looking for, like finding someone to trust. I mean, because of what already happened, it's kind of hard to find. I guess we don't want to go outside the family because of what happened already. But like you mentioned, they don't have to be involved in the financial aspect of things. So I think that was like the main concern. We don't want someone else coming in and then the financial aspect of it. So I hear what you're saying. I understand.
And that's just the understanding the rules and regulations of the Structural Pest Control Board and making sure that you're reporting and doing things properly, whether it's providing PPE for your employees or anything like that. There's a lot involved in running a business other than financials, is what I'm saying.
Correct.
How about does your dad come into the office every day?
Yeah, he works with California. He drives the trucks.
And another thought that I had was, I don't know if you have relationships with other fumigators locally, that maybe there'd be somebody that would be willing to help mentor you, and someone that you felt comfortable. You don't always have to call the board. Sometimes if you have relationships within the industry, you can speak to other fumigators and develop a relationship when you have questions, to try to get questions answered. That I know, and I know a lot of local people that we'd be happy to help each other. So that's another option, that you guys try to get to know your fellow business owners and people in your industry. I could go further on that. If you know what PCOC is, Pest Control Operators of California, it's an association of people in the industry that get together. Most cities or most districts have meetings once a month.
Oh.
And just going to those and getting to know people, you get a lot of information before it's put out into the public. So anyway, I guess right now those are all my comments. The fumigation business is hard, but it's still your responsibility to make sure your tarps aren't tearing and you're following all the rules and regulations. So that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Thresher. Did any other board members have a question that occurred to them in light of other questions? So just speak up. I'm not hearing anything. Ms. Lee, anything from you?
Not for Ms. Gutierrez, no, thank you.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add, Ms. Gutierrez, before I excuse you as a witness?
I just wanted to say thank you, especially Ms. Janet, for giving me that information, and I will take up that challenge and start being more social and talk to the other experts in the field. PCOC was what you mentioned, right?
Yeah, it stands for Pest Control Operators of California.
Okay.
And the website is pcoc.org. You can reach out to Sarah. She could steer you in the right direction.
All right. So hopefully I'll see some of you there.
Thank you very much. All right, Ms. Lee, is it my understanding you wish to call Mr. Santillan as a witness?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Mr. Santillan, I'm going to have you raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. And could you please state and spell your full name for the record, please?
Eduardo Santillan, EduardoSantillan.
Thank you, sir. And if you get asked a question by anyone today that you don't understand or is vague or ambiguous, just let us know. We can get it clarified or rephrased for you, okay?
Okay.
All right. Your witness, Ms. Lee.
Thank you. Mr. Santillan, good morning.
Good morning.
You listed on your petition that your current employment is Cali Fume as a driver. Is that right still?
Yes.
And you agree that, so Cali Fume is owned by your son?
Yes.
That's Eduardo Jr.?
Yes.
Okay. Junior has his own operator's license, is that right?
Yes.
In branch 1?
Yes.
And do you know how long he's held that license?
I think since 2006, I don't remember.
Roughly around then?
Probably around 2006.
Okay. And Junior, was he ever a part of Master Fume? Did he ever work for you when you had Master Fume?
Yes.
Let's establish Master Fume. When did you start that company?
Master Fume?
Yes.
2008.
And
can I have permission to go to the bathroom? 1 minute.
Yes, sir. You may go to the bathroom. Absolutely. We'll pause for a minute. Thank you, everyone. I apologize for your patience, but I don't want our witness to be stressed while testifying. So.
Thank you.
Absolutely no problem. Thank you, sir. Ms. Lee, would you like to re-ask your last question just so the record's clear? Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
yes, Your Honor. When did you start Master Fume?
2008.
And when Master Fume, when your license was revoked, Master Fume's license also got revoked, right? At the same time?
Excuse me?
So your operator's license was revoked let's see, it was revoked in 2018, right?
Yes.
And that same time, Master Fume's registration also was revoked. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so between 2008 and 2018, what period of time did Junior work for Master Fume?
Work for Master Fume. I think from 2008, he worked maybe 2 or 3 years, 2011, something like that.
What was his position or role?
He was a licensed. He was working on the field.
Okay. Now, are you? I know we've gone over this with your daughter, but if you get your operator's license back, do you have any plans in the future besides working for Califume?
Yes.
What kinds of plans do you have in the future?
As a license. And do fumigations and measurements and check the guys, do everything right.
Okay. If you get your operator's license back, do you plan to work for any other company besides Califume?
Yes. Yes.
Do you have any specific companies in your mind right now where you want to work besides Califume?
Could be AAA fumigation, AAA fume, or royalty fumigation. There's some fumigation companies, they need licenses.
Okay. Do you have any plans to become the qualified manager at any other company besides Califume?
Yes.
Okay. Those same companies that you mentioned?
Yes.
Do you have any plans to become the qualified manager for Califume if you get your license back?
No.
Okay, and why not?
Because my son is the qualified manager. He's the owner of that company. So I have to look for other company to work with, or maybe a new company. I don't know.
So no plans to take over the QM from your son at Califume?
No.
Okay. Do you have any future plans to maybe start your own business again?
No.
Okay. So you submitted all of your course completion, your training completion. Besides those documents, have you taken any more trainings or courses since then?
No.
And the trainings and courses that you did take in your petition, those were for you to pass the operator exam in 2020, is that right?
Yes.
And so besides those courses, nothing else since then?
No, because I don't have my license. So if I have my license, I have to go get more classes.
Okay. And do you have, if the board gave you your license back, but said you have to retake the exam again, is that something that you'd be willing to do?
Yes.
I have to ask this of everybody. Do you have any criminal convictions that the board is unaware of?
No.
Are there any current criminal charges against you in this state or any other jurisdiction?
No.
Now I want to ask you a little bit about the very first case that you had with the board, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so the very first case was because of a 2010 fumigation that you did with Bug Stop. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want you to go into any explanation. All I want to ask you is, do you accept responsibility for the violations that the board found from that case?
Yes.
What is your understanding of what you and your company did wrong in that first case? Not the probation stuff, just about the Bug Stop fumigation.
Yeah, because we didn't know the licensee passed away, and we thought his license still on, how do I say, was available to do fumigations, and but we find out later he passed away that month or those days for a heart attack. I understand, and but I'm responsible for that violation.
So we just want to make sure you understand what the violation was. What was wrong with the fumigation? What did you do wrong that should not have happened?
Because the property was not inspected before we fumigated.
Okay.
He didn't make the inspection. And
Bug Stop was also not branch 3 registered, right?
Bug Stop, it was branch. I didn't know that. It was branch 2. I don't remember.
Okay. And do you understand that Bug Stop could not do that job if it doesn't have a branch 3 registration?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, and that's because it was termite work.
Yes.
That. Okay, and then there was a violation about keeping a proper fumigation log. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Why that was a violation?
Yes.
How would you do things differently with the fumigation log? Well, how would you improve?
Okay, right now, we check the prime contractors. They got the right license, branch 3 to do fumigations. Branch 1 and branch 3, yeah, we can do fumigations. Branch 2 there's no way to do fumigations for branch 2.
Okay, and how would you improve your fumigation log, your written log practices?
Improve, okay. We make sure the termite company have active his license, and he used to sign the subcontractor, the subcontractor, he have to sign it. His license is active, so we can, fill out the fume log with the right information from the prime contractor.
Okay. So now I want to ask you about your probation case. We're going to move on. I want to ask you about your probation violation case, okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, did you have a chance to read the hearing decision from that hearing?
Yes.
And did you get a chance to read the decision from a couple of years ago? Your petition hearing from a couple of years ago?
Yes, when was denied?
Yes. Did you read
Yes.
that decision?
Yes.
So one of the things the judge was concerned about was the judge thought you took responsibility for the probation violations, but you were placing a lot of the blame on the bad secretary. So
yes.
Do you have any additional or different thoughts about your responsibility and your role in the probation violations?
Well, I understand my mistake was not checking the paperwork in the office. And I'll try to do everything for my probation to, send all the paperwork to you, but I never saw those letters. So, but I'm fully responsible for that. I understand.
If you were ever to be placed on probation again, how would your practice change if you had to meet your probation conditions?
Because I'll be checking all the paperwork. I'll be checking all the guys to make sure it won't happen again.
Okay, so you've taken the step. Okay, you're going to check the mail.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Well, check the mail, all the letters from you, from the, we have to pay bills, and well, check the guys. They're doing everything right. No violations. Because I have to make sure we are doing everything above the law.
Are you going to rely on anybody else to send in your paperwork to the board, to the county, to anybody else related to your license?
No, only my daughter. She's taking care of the office, and I feel better when she's, working with me in the office.
Okay.
She's the best secretary in the world.
That's great, but what if your daughter's not available? What if she's moved out? What if she's out of, what if she's in school? What if she moves out of state?
Well,
you going to rely on anybody else besides yourself to make sure you meet probation conditions?
Oh, well, I got, me and my other daughter, Adriana, we can take care of the paperwork in the office.
Okay. One of the concerns that the judge had last time in 2021, they said, great, Mariela is now the secretary. But the judge pointed out that there were still some violations of probation even after she took over. So what is your response to that?
I failed to, to properly supervise the employees, and I want to take steps to make sure that does not happen again.
Like what steps? Can you give us examples?
Well, I have to maybe get classes, be more, take care of the paperwork, make payments on time,
Okay, I want to move on. I'm going to move on now, and I'm going to ask you about Cali Fume. Okay, Mr. Santan?
Yes.
Your role, your title is driver. Do you do anything else for the company besides drive?
Just driving. Has my driver license.
Do you, I know you don't have your license right now. Do you help out any of the guys on the field?
No.
Guys or actually work on the field?
Yes, I'm a grown man and driver. I don't work the whole week, just 3 or 4 days a week.
You work part-time?
Yes.
Does Cali Fume have another driver when you don't work?
Yes.
Is somebody besides your son?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what Cali Fume's violations history looks like?
Yes. The the inlets, the caps, the rib tarps, the danger signs. That's it.
Failure to submit notice of intent?
Yes.
The cap requirements?
Yes.
Failure to open windows to prepare for the fumigation?
Yes.
Those are all violations at one time or other that Cali Fume has had?
Yes.
Do you know that Cali Fume, since registering as a corporation in 2019, do you know that Cali Fume has been issued at least 11 fines from the Ag Commission, with fines totaling $6,200?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that Cali Fume has had that many violations?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what, if anything, if you continue to work at Cali Fume and you get your operator's license back, how can you give confidence to the board that Cali Fume will not have these violations in the future?
Okay, because I gonna check the guys what they doing. I don't like to get violations because it's money, and the company needs money. So every year we got 2 stewardship meetings where we get all the new information to they explain to us what is new, what needs to be done, and sometimes the violations my guys get, I said, is negligent, because sometimes they don't do it on purpose. Some accident happen, but we get those violations, and I wanna check the guys. I wanna go behind them and check that we are doing everything, right. And I don't like to get a violation and pay, I don't know, $400-500. The license pays his fine, and the company pays his fine, and it's a lot of money. I don't like to get violations.
You plan to check the guys and supervise them?
Yes.
License back. Right now, you only work 3 or 4 days. Who's going to supervise and check the guys to make sure no violations on the days that you don't work?
Yeah, because if we are not busy right now, we don't work the whole week. Some guys work 3 days, some guys 5 days. So we are not busy. We're not getting too many fumigations.
Does Junior ever come out to the field to supervise the guys?
Yes.
How often does he do that?
Yeah, once a week, sometimes twice, and he got a meeting. Every stewardship meeting we have, he come with us, and he likes to talk with the guys. Make sure you do everything right. And take care of the people. Take care of because we use chemicals. Be careful what you guys doing, and he talked to the guys.
Okay. Do you have any, besides what you sent to the board, do you have any other activities that you do for your community?
No, but I can do, I can do community service. So if you want me to do, I can do it.
No, just anything that you do outside of work. Do you work with church or anything like that?
No.
Okay. If the board were to give you your license but place it on probation again, are you willing to be on probation again?
Yes.
I'm almost done, Your Honor. Let me just go over my questions really quickly.
No problem.
Is there a reason, Mr. Santillan, that you have not done any other trainings or courses? I know you don't have your license right now, but is there any other reason why you haven't taken other courses or trainings since the courses you took for the exam?
Yes.
And what is the reason?
Well, if I have to get more classes, I can take them because I want to get my license back, so I can take whatever classes I need. I can take them.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. All right, let me turn to the board members. President Finley, do you have questions for Mr. Santillan?
No, I do not.
All right, thank you. Dr. Bindal, do you have any questions?
I do. I do have a comment, actually.
Go ahead.
For Mr. Santillan. Mr. Santillan, I just listening to you, it seems and it appears that you have a very good understanding of this business from years of the experience that you've gained in this. But, the only comment that I have is it's so important to understand the importance.
Yes, I do.
And the seriousness of maintaining the license requirements and following the guidelines and the protocols that entail in those guidelines. So we have to follow the procedures and policies and take them very seriously. So sometimes in this disorganization, different cultural differences, we can lose sight on the differences in the different areas that we practice in, but it's so important to take that seriously. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bindal. Mr. Paxson, any questions?
No, I've got nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tengan, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I do have a statement. If you're looking for resources and help in the industry, there's a group called the Fumigators Group of Southern California, and they meet, occasionally, if not once a month, just like PCOC. And you could also look to your chemical vendor who you buy, your chemical from to get the help that or support you may need. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tengan. And then Ms. Thrasher, do you have any questions?
I do not have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other board members, just raise your hands or speak up if you had any questions in the interim. I don't see any additional questions. Ms. Lee, did you feel you adequately covered it?
I have no further questions. Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Santillan, just a final opportunity. You don't have to say anything else, but is there anything else you'd like to add before you conclude your testimony?
I just want to ask you, please give me an opportunity to show you that I'm a responsible person and respectful of the laws of this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Santillan. And no additional witnesses for you, correct?
No.
And no additional documents?
No.
Thank you very much. All right, then that concludes the petition hearing in this matter. The record is closed. The case is submitted for decision, and we are off the record in this matter. I'll turn it over to you, President Finley, as to how you want to proceed next.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. We will now go, do we have, David, do we have Shizu Wong on the line?
Yes, and is available.
Okay, can we do a mic check real quick to make sure?
All right, I'm sending a request to unmute for Shizu Hong.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, we hear you.
Oh, now it's good. All right. Okay.
How do we say your name, please?
My name is Shuju Huang.
Thank you.
Shizu Wong.
Question.
Okay, thank you, Shizu. Sorry, we skipped over you earlier with the, we couldn't hear you earlier, so I'm glad we got that figured out. So let's, do we need a couple minute break? Let's take a couple minute break and come back. It's 11:15. Let's start at 11:20. Is that fine? 5 minutes, or does anybody need longer than that?
No, I'm totally fine. Just want to make sure the mic is working. All right, I'm fine.
Okay.
It's up to you. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to take a 5 minute break. We'll come back at 11:20 and we'll start agenda item number 5 on your petition hearing.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you.
Should we start, or do you want to wait one more minute for Bindal? I don't know if he can he be part of the hearing if he's in. Oh, you are here. Okay, Bindal, you are here, correct?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that sufficient for roll call, Sabina?
Yes, thank you so much. You may turn it over to Judge Van Rooyen.
Well, I will start with just agenda item 5. Is a petition for reinstatement. The purpose of this hearing today is for the board to consider a petition for reinstatement from Shizu Hang Huang. I will now turn the meeting over to the administrative law judge to begin the hearing.
Thank you very much, President Finley. And so I see you, Mr. Wong. You can still hear me well enough?
Yes, that's very well.
Wonderful, thank you. And Ms. Lee, same for you as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct. Mr. Wong, when I formally call the case, I'll be explaining the procedures, et cetera, in detail, but do you have any questions before we get started?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much. Then I will call the matter. We are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California. We'll take our last petition today, which is actually the second one on the agenda, which we had deferred due to technical issues earlier on. This is the petition for reinstatement by Shizu Huang, that's spelled S-H-U-Z-H-U, Huang, H-U-A-N-G. It is OPR number 11395, branches 2 and 3, and the OAH case number is 2023-050-880. My name is Wim Van Rooyen. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the State of California, and I've been assigned to preside over this matter today. Today is June 28th, 2023. It's 11:23 a.m. We are conducting this matter via WebEx video and teleconference and recording it via WebEx as well. I will let the record reflect that we have a quorum of board members present as taken by the roll call after the break. May I please have the appearance of the Attorney General, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Stephanie Lee, Deputy Attorney General on behalf of our office, appearing pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
Good morning, Ms. Lee. And then for the petitioner, if you can just state your full name for the record, please.
My name is Shuju Huang, S-H-U-Z-H-U, Huang, H-U-A-N-G.
Thank you, Mr. Huang. Thank you so much for being here. So in terms of how the hearing will proceed today, the Deputy Attorney General will proceed first to introduce the petition packet and provide us with an orientation of the procedural history and background of this case. After that, you will have the right to make a presentation under oath to explain why you believe your petition should be granted. You may also call other witnesses to testify, although that's not required. And you and any such witnesses would be subject to questioning by both the Deputy Attorney General and the board members. In fact, just so you are aware, although I am the judge presiding over the hearing and making evidentiary determinations, it's the board members who will be deciding the case. So please make sure to address their questions and concerns at the appropriate time. The board is particularly concerned with rehabilitation that you may have engaged in. You're just reminded again that the board has had the benefit of reading your petition package, so you don't have to repeat anything that's included there, but you can certainly highlight or emphasize any portions you deem appropriate or add some additional information. After the hearing, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate, so you won't be receiving a decision today, but you will receive a written decision in the mail at some point in the future. Do you have any questions about any of that, Mr. Wong?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. All right, I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Lee, to provide us with an orientation to the case and then introduce the petition packet.
Thank you, Your Honor. The matter before this board is a petition for reinstatement of the OPR license number 11395 in branches 2 and 3. Mr. Huang has been with the industry as a licensed field representative and applicator since 1998. He was issued the operator's license that's the subject of today's hearing in 2006. In 2017, in accusation number 2017-68, the board filed an accusation. The factual basis of that accusation was that in 2016, the petitioner and an individual named Chao Luan, C-H-A-O, last name L-U-A-N, Luan being the owner of a company called Focus Pest Control, they worked together to perform an unlawful and inaccurate WDO inspection at a property in Covina, California. The petitioner at that time had issued a completion notice for the inspection report, indicating that some recommended items were completed for $250 and some items were not completed. The completion notice included a certification that the property was free of evidence of active infestation or infection in the visible and accessible areas. The issue with this inspection was that Focus Pest Control was an unlicensed and unregistered company. Furthermore, petitioner's operator's license at the time of this inspection in 2016 was inactive. The individual, Mr. Luan, was unlicensed, and the petitioner was not registered with the LA County Agricultural Commissioner's Office. The board learned that the petitioner, Mr. Luan, under Focus Pest Control, had been advertising pest control services, specifically targeting the Chinese community in the area through the Chinese community yellow pages. The board also learned that the petitioner had not submitted any monthly pesticide use reports, even though he had purportedly used pesticides to treat the Covina property. He had also failed to file WDO activity reports with the board to document his work on this property. And then finally, in 2015, the board learned that Mr. Luan had submitted an application to the board for licensure, but had failed to disclose that both he and Mr. Huang, the petitioner, were associated with canceled pest control businesses, specifically Able, ABLE Pest Control, and Bravo Pest Control. And that application also failed to disclose that the petitioner, who was going to be the qualifying manager of this potential applicant company, they also failed to disclose that the petitioner had various violations found by the county agricultural commissioner. At the end of this accusation case, the petitioner stipulated to a surrender of his license effective January 5th, 2018. There was cost recovery owed from the accusation case in the amount of $5,406.74. If the board were to reinstate the license, we would request that that cost be made a condition of any probation, as that full amount is currently outstanding. Thank you, Your Honor. And we can move on to the exhibit.
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Thank you. We would ask to mark and have received as Exhibit 1 the jurisdictional documents, which includes the board's letter confirming today's hearing date, as well as the petitioner's confirmation, the petitioner's petition for reinstatement, the board's letter to the petitioner regarding any guidelines for the petitions, as well as the guidelines themselves, a copy of the decision and order from case number 2017-68, which also includes a copy of the accusation and more detail on the actual violations that led to the surrendered license. There is a memorandum of outstanding costs. And then finally, there are a number of certified license histories, the license at issue, the OPR 11395, as well as a history of his previous field representative and applicator's licenses.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lee. So any objection to admitting Exhibit 1, the entire petition packet as outlined by Ms. Lee, Mr. Wong?
No.
Thank you very much. Exhibit 1 is admitted. Anything else from you, Ms. Lee?
Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Wong, now is your opportunity to testify in support of your petition. Would you like to do so?
Sure. Thank you.
All right. First thing I'm going to ask you to do is raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. If you can raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you so much. You can put your hand down. And now could you please state and spell your full name for the record?
My name is Shuzhu Huang, SHUZHUHUANG.
Thank you, Mr. Huang. And if you get asked any question today that you don't understand, just let us know and we will get it rephrased and clarified for you. But first off, since you don't have an attorney to ask you questions, I'm just going to let you testify freely as to what you think is relevant in support of your petition. Again, I'll just remind you that there's no need to repeat everything in your packet. You can assume the board members would have read it and will consider it in deciding your petition, but you're welcome to highlight anything or add additional information. So with that said, you can start your testimony. After you're done, Ms. Lee may have questions for you and the board members may have questions. Thank you, Mr. Wong. You can proceed.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to, since I surrendered the license, I haven't worked in this industry for a while. I do Uber actually. So, but now it's economy is kind of slow. So I try to utilize my skills in the past to request the board to see if they can reinstate the license.
Mr. Wong, I didn't catch that. What work did you do in between since your license was surrendered? Could you state that one more time?
Well, Uber, do the driving as Uber driver.
Oh, as an Uber driver.
Yes,
as in UBER. Thank you. Thank you very much. Was there anything else you'd like to add?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you so much. Ms. Lee, do you have questions for the petition?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Wong, good morning.
Good morning.
Besides driving for Uber, do you have any other jobs?
No, not really, no.
Not really, or definitely not?
Or just sometimes help friends. I used to do technical support for like computers, install the surveillance cameras. So just occasionally for the friends that they have these kind of issues, I do occasionally, not like a regular job, no.
Okay. What are your plans if the board reinstates your operator's license? What do you plan to do with the license?
Yeah, probably do some very simple work and do part-time.
Do you plan to work for a company or start your own company?
I haven't make that decision to see. Probably do some consulting as part-time for other companies, but I haven't like really make a decision because I said this is just for me to do to get some additional revenue, additional income for my, just get some additional income. Yeah.
Okay. And if you plan to use your license part-time, what do you plan to do the rest of your time?
Oh, Uber?
You would continue Uber.
Yeah, continue Uber, yeah.
Besides consulting, I know you don't have any definite plans. Is it possible that you may want to work for a company as a qualified manager in the future?
Possible, yes.
Is it possible that you may want to eventually restart your own company in the future?
Maybe not. I try to start some other business, not the pest control, no.
You might want to start another business in the future, but not pest control. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any children, Mr. Huang?
Yes, I have 2 children.
What are their ages?
One is 12, one is 16.
Do they live with you?
Yes.
Are you the primary source of income for your family?
Yes.
Are you married or single?
Married?
Married. Does your wife work?
No. Well, yes, she works as a home care. She takes care of her sister and a mom because a home care.
She provides like home health care for her.
Yes, for her sister and mom. Yes.
And does she get paid for that work?
Yes.
Since 2018, so January of 2018, you surrendered your license, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Since then, have you taken any courses, training, CECs regarding the structural pest control laws and regulations?
No, I haven't done anything pest control related.
If the board were to reinstate your license, would you be willing to take the operator's examination again as a condition?
Yes.
And then in terms of any criminal history, do you have any criminal convictions that this board is unaware of?
No.
Do you have any current criminal charges pending against you in this state or any other jurisdiction?
No.
So I want to ask you about the board case that led to your license being taken away. Do you accept responsibility for the violations that led to your license being surrendered?
Yes.
Can you tell us, sitting here today, your understanding of what you did wrong with regards to that Covina inspection? What were the things that you thought, okay, this is illegal or this is wrong, I should not have done this?
Okay, I expand a little on that violation. First, at that time, I started a business with my friends, Chow, and also under the name Focus. And at that time, that application of the company registration is in the board processing. I pay the money, everything is, well, I called the board several times. And the board, it's about the issue. The license is about the issue. Okay, I'm not trying to do business like with the license. It's on the process, and it's almost done. I thought that license should be, at that time, could be issued on I did the job on the Saturday. I forget, Saturday. I thought that the license is supposed to issue on the Friday. And the latest.
I don't want to interrupt your explanation. We don't need an explanation of all the details.
Okay.
We just want to know, do you understand today what you did wrong? Why the board took away your license?
Without doing the work without license.
Okay. And then besides that, you did not submit any of the reports after the fumigation, correct?
Any other allegations is related. If without license, you cannot get anything else. Every other allegation is totally from no license. That's why no license, you cannot report your chemical, you cannot file report, you cannot do anything without that license. Anything allegation is because no license. The registration, the board have an issue. So that's why others, well, that's the consequence of no license. Okay.
Okay, so it was wrong for you to do a fumigation without subsequently submitting any of the reports, the required reports. Would you agree with that?
Like I said, that allegation.
Do you agree with that? It was wrong for you to do the fumigation.
It's a wrong allegation. That's a wrong allegation. The board, like I said, they just write you up for something. It's the same. They talk about the same thing. The same thing is no license. Anything besides no report, don't report the chemical because no license. You cannot report a chemical without license. That's what happened. They put everything like make it very detailed. Like I said, every allegation after that is because come from no license. Okay, you can allocate that. That's the result. That's all I see. That's the result from no license.
When you say the board wrong allegation, I don't understand what you mean. Are you saying that the board was wrong?
Yeah.
Judging each of those things as a violation?
Yeah, like I said, they can write up everything because that's a result. It's not a violation. It's a result of from one violation, every other is a result.
Okay.
But they put it as allegation. Yeah.
I understand. Not turning in the report, you believe that is not a violation itself. It's a result stemming from the big issue of not being licensed.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, I understand. And that's your position sitting here today.
Well, I just want to see if you can reinstate. If not, it's fine. All right. That's my position. I want to see also board to see if we can do the reinstatement. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you about your petition itself. Did you have a chance to review the guidelines that they mailed to you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and did you ask anybody for any like character letters or anything like that?
No.
Do you do any community service or activities for your community? Like, for example, like church, PTA, children's sports coaching, anything like that?
No.
I want to ask you a little bit about your license history. So you had your operator's license since 2006, right?
Yes.
And then your license became inactive 2014.
2014. Yes, there's a war between, yeah.
There's a what between?
There's a war, no active for a while, yes.
No, not active for a while.
Yes.
Okay. When your license was issued, during those first 14 months in 2006 to 2007, if you look at your license history, you were working as you were working for 7 different companies in the first 14 months. Can you explain why you were working for so many companies?
Well, for providing consulting for other companies.
Okay. You were also the qualified manager for multiple companies at a time.
Oh, at that time, yes. At that time, it's a project from it's a EP5 program. I mean, it's like EP5 is called investment immigration. So I managed like a couple of companies. So after that, but later they changed the management. So that's why at that time get a violation because they changed the management. The new management, they didn't didn't follow the rules. So that's why I got that violation for no license or some like miscellaneous violations from the operation of the company. That time the company is under different management. It's not under my management. I'm just qualified manager. So they don't cooperate well. That's one thing. Second, I didn't realize I needed to, after they suspend the company registration, I didn't realize that I needed to remove my name from the company. So that's why that's why all the allegations like, oh, you operated without license. It's just I didn't, it's the company license revoked. Then my license is under the company. Then they operated condition. And without license, that's also affected me because I didn't remove my license from the company. So yeah, basically, like I never get complaints. I never get complaints about the work. It's the only problem is like some incident is performing the job without license. Okay, of course, the last one is well. I've been talking to the board to try to get the license issued, but the board is just like give me all kind of problem too. Okay.
So the 7 different companies that you were working in the first 14 months of your license, from 2006 to 2007, you say that you were working as a consultant capacity?
Yes.
Some of those businesses you were labeled as you were deemed the qualified manager.
Yes, for Ebo and Bravo, yes, I'm definitely I managed the company because at that time the 2 company, the whole management is under me.
Okay, and there was a period of a time in 2007 where you were registered as the qualified manager for more than 2 companies. You had, it looks like maybe 3 or 4 companies at a time. Is that right?
Oh, yes, and that's correct. Also Pacific, that time is consulting for them, yes. At that time, the board allow more than 2 company. Yeah, you can as qualified manager for more than 2 companies, but afterwards they limited to 2.
Do you feel that you were adequately able to perform your qualified manager duties when you were handling those multiple businesses at a time?
Well, first of all, that's the board allowed. Okay, it's not a violation. You manage multiple companies. Yes, it's allowed. As a capacity, why the board later changed to 2, that's the board believe probably have issues with
I'm
it.
not asking you about the changes in the law. I just wanted to know, when you look at your own performance, do you feel that you were able to adequately perform your qualified manager duties when you were managing those multiple businesses?
Maybe not. That's the reason also why the board changed the rules, because there might have issues. That's why you cannot have enough time to overlook all their operations.
Did you feel that you did not have sufficient time to manage all the businesses at the same time?
Well, yes, no. Well, I mean, no, yeah, you don't have enough time.
Okay. So now I want to talk about, you mentioned you had some later violations. on your license, right? So those are from 2013 to 2015. So towards the tail end of your license, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to ask you, you had three companies, three different companies, East Bay Pest Control, Fast Pest Control, and Pacific Coast Termite. Your license was associated with those three companies between 2013 and 2015 or so. And for each of those companies, your license was suspended for failure to maintain general liability insurance.
Yeah, that's from Pacific. It's overlooked.
Okay, but also from East Bay and Fast Pest. Are you aware of those citations?
Yes, I'm aware, yes.
And do you have any explanation as to why those companies under your care had lapsed their liability insurance?
Or like say it's overlook. I didn't. That companies, those company when I do as consulting, I don't go there like oftenly. So that's why when they lose their bonds, I didn't notice.
When you were working in those companies in a consultant capacity, about how frequently would you actually physically go to the office?
Probably I would see a monthly basis.
So once a month?
Yes, that's the frequency.
You also had you had 3 violations with LA County Agriculture Commissioner, and then you had 1 violation with Orange County Agricultural Commissioner. And so those fines were in total, they were about $900. Can you explain why those violations happened?
Yeah, those violations is during like the new company, there's a 2 company like that is in the beginning is under my management. Okay. After that, they just changed the whole management team. So at that time, my capacity, they said they're going to use my license for like a couple of months before they hire a new qualified manager. But they actually didn't do it. Okay. They continue using my license. And at that time, my capacity is only same as like consulting, same as before just do consulting for other companies. So actually, I don't go there like not be there on a daily basis. So that's why there's things I didn't know. So.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Let me see if the board members have questions. Ms. President Finley, any questions from you?
Just on the one question on if it got reinstated, there is fees of $5,406. Were you willing to pay those fees?
Yes.
And then have you performed? You were caught at one point performing unlicensed work. Since 2018, since the license has been revoked, have you performed any work in the industry?
No.
No. Okay. And then one of the things sent in the packets was rehabilitation, and I know that was asked. Stephanie Lee had asked you, but any rehabilitation since your license has been revoked, from volunteer to courses to anything to show us that, hey, I want to be back in your industry and here's what I've done to get back and to learn from my mistakes?
Well, definitely. First of all, like I said, my mistake is the major issues with that license. Okay, that's definitely won't happen again. So that's one thing. Second, for the reinstatement, for me, if the board not approve, I wouldn't willing to spend extra time just take courses stuff. I have to make sure the board approve the reinstatement. Otherwise, I got to too busy to making money to support the family. So.
Okay, and then this question may be a little bit direct, but are you looking to get a license reinstated for the purpose of getting back in our industry, or to rent your license out to, make money as be a qualifying manager for another company?
Well, my thought is just this time I just want to do some simple job. If I do like as consulting, definitely, of course, definitely this time I'll make sure everything they do under the rules, everything. So, but that I haven't made that decision. But most likely, I would just open companies with friends and just do like part-time job, but not.
How much in the past, when you had been a qualifying manager and companies were using your operator's license to qualify, how much were you getting paid as consulting qualifying manager from each one of these companies?
Yeah, probably because there is branch 2 and branch 3. That time I just consulting as branch 2. They pay only like 500 a month. So that's why you don't go there on a daily basis.
Okay, so and is the plan to be the qualifying manager because you're allowed to have up to 2 companies? If you had your license, would you want to? You're going to try to be the qualifying manager and use that operators for 2 separate companies and make $500 a month off of each of them?
Well, not now. No. That's the past. No. You're asking how much they pay me in the past, right?
I'm asking if you were to get your license reinstated, is that the plan, to make additional money by being the qualifying manager for 2 separate companies?
No, that's not a plan. Like I said, my plans, I just want to probably open company with friends to get, of course, definitely I'll involve, same as open the company with friends, but I do the work, partial work. I mean, do the work, actual work for partial, not like work the full time. At the same time, of course, oversee the operation of the company.
Okay, and last question was, you had been licensed and unlicensed, but in the industry for quite a while. Where did you spend most of your time? Was it branch 2? Were you a technician spraying out in the field as a tech? Were you a termite inspector, or were you always just in a qualifying manager role, or did you actually perform some of the duties of our industry, and what were those?
I would say at the time, since I get my operator license, then I start my own business. So that's why basically I do everything myself. At the same time, I rent my license to other company as consulting. And so like I said, as an operator, yes, since I have operator license, I'm in operator capacity. Also, before I get the operator license, I'm the technician. I do the actual spray inspections. Yes. So after get operator license, I also do field work too, because I'm actually technician. So especially when I have my own company.
Okay, thank you. No further questions for me.
Thank you, President Finley. Dr. Bindal, do you have any questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Paxson, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions either. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Tengan, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
And Ms. Thrasher, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Lee, any additional questions from you?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Or any other board member? I don't see any hands up or anyone speaking. So let me see, Mr. Wong, was there anything else you wanted to add before we finish your testimony?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have any additional witnesses you'd like to call?
No, Your Honor.
And no additional documents?
No.
All right. Thank you so much. Then that concludes the petition in this matter. The record is closed. The case is submitted for decision, and we are off the record in this matter. I'll turn it back to you, President Finley. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, agenda
thank
item.
you.
Okay, here we go. Pursuant to Government Code Section 11126C3, the board members will now meet in closed session for discussion and to take action on disciplinary matters, including the petitions. The board will recess tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So thank you, everyone. We're going to go into closed session.
Thank you. This is Sabina. David, I can take over the host role for closed session if you put us in a practice session and we can remove everybody not needed.